Chat. There's something that popped up on my feed or so. Matara says young men don't commit. The problem with men. I'm very curious about it, so I wanted to take a look at it and see what you guys specifically think about it at the end of the day. But the world is ending, the story is over? What are you talking about? No. I wanna hear what Miss Matara has to say about, like, you know, about young men. I'd be very curious. I want to know what you guys think, because I know that my audiences in general are, like, you know, I wouldn't say young or so, but, like, you know, there's just, I know that there's this, like, lonely men epidemic kind of type of thing as of recently, so, or hating on men in general. So I'm kind of, you know, I like to keep an open book or so to know, you know.
At what age range is Matara looking for a husband? 35 plus, but the problem with men, this is gonna, you know, it's gonna start off good. You know I'm not gonna get canceled when I begin my sentence with, the problem with men, from what I have noticed in my recent experiences, is that men, okay, hear me out. But now I have to, okay, now this is gonna sound cocky. I was gonna say, most men hit on me. Now that, oh, Matara, you're being cocky. Most men will flirt with me. Bam. Okay. Sentence over. Boom. Okay.
Okay.
Boom. She's cocky. She's confident. Whatever. But the problem is, men between the ages of 25 to 35 are like, hey, let's just go on dates, sleep together, come over, do my dishes, do my laundry. Would you want to have kids? But I'm not really sure what I'm looking for. You know, I'm not really sure I like you like that. But can we...
Ages between 25, what was it? 25, was it 25 to 35? Okay, so if a guy is hitting on you, right? But then, like, they have that specific mindset of, like, you know, maybe it's just like, but the question is like, is Matara is Matara kind of like, what's the word? Like, adding more fuel to it, question mark?
We hold hands. Would you like to meet my parents? And I'm kind of at a point where guys that are 25 or under are like, ma'am, give me a chance. I just want, ma'am, you don't understand. Miss, if you just let me in, if you give me a shot, madam, I will make you the happiest woman alive. Or men over 35 or over 40 who it's the same thing, where they're like, miss, please give me the chance and opportunity to date you, to marry you. You want someone serious? I am serious. But alas, and again, obviously not all men, but from what I have noticed from my experiences and some of my friends' experiences, a lot of men between 25 to 35 are like, I don't know if I really like you like that. You know, Matara, you're not.
But like the question, okay, so like the question is, right, between the ages of 25 and 35. That's my demographic that I have as well. Like I have 40s as well, right? I have from like late 20s and like late 30s and early 40s. Like the question is like, is this like super early where it's like casual to go? Like, isn't it like the norm or so that like, I don't know. This is how it was for me, okay, in the void, all right? I don't know how it is over here, okay? But in the void, you casually date somebody, you know, you know, you do a couple dates, you hang out together, you get to know each other, and then it forms a bond and a connection, and then you start getting into a relationship, you know. I don't know, man. That's how it is in the void, okay? I don't know how it is over here, okay? I've had relationships over here from both guys and girls, okay? I'm not leaving the girls out, all right? They're both getting ridiculed from it, okay? All right? where sometimes they either go too fucking fast in the relationship, like they immediately already wants to do like a bunch of things in a short amount of time. And I'm just kind of like, I'm not like that. I'm not fucking Lightning McQueen, okay? All right? I don't go fucking turbo fast when it comes to relationships, all right? Sometimes I like to take it a little bit slow, you know, get to know you a little bit, you know, before I decide, you know, hey, let's take it serious, you know, let's actually be, you know, boyfriend or girlfriend or girlfriend and girlfriend, okay? All right? You two women, the women are fucking notorious for this, okay? All right? I know this for a fact, okay? All right? The girls take it fucking fast, okay? For some random apparent reason, they take relationships like turbo speed at Mach 10 for some random apparent reason, okay? That's the reason why I ridicule girls as well at the same time when it comes to relationships. I think it depends on the responsibility said man has at the moment and time being together. That is very true. Besides, if a guy is too intense at the start, it can also look desperate. That's also another thing too as well, because you know, maybe they haven't been in a relationship and they're trying to rush into a relationship, which is also a kind of like a bad way to find a relationship as well, or to get into a relationship as well.
Nice and all, but I just don't know. You know, I know you say you want to call once a week and go on a date once a week and cuddle, but I don't know. It's just a lot of commitment. I'm just so busy. You know, I'm just so busy all the time for you. So I'm kind of in this weird spot where everyone's non-committal. Everyone's like, I don't know. You want me to text you once every 5 days to let you know that I'm not dead because I don't use any social media and I'm nowhere, and if I don't text you once every 5 days, you won't know if I'm dead or alive? I don't know. That's a lot.
Well, texting to someone is not a, you know, texting to someone is not a big deal. You know, if I'm in a relationship with someone and I'm interested in someone, I'll text them, you know, pretty much almost every day. And like, you know, that's pretty much it. So guys are too committal and too committal at the same time. What? Not non-committal? I don't know what non-committal is. Is that means like committing to something? Like I don't know.
Sorry,
to be honest.
my mind is foggy at the moment.
Hey Delta. Hello, hello. Date everything. Yeah. Hey Raiders, how you guys doing? If they're not throwing memes at me at 2 a.m., they're not worth it. Interesting. Like yeah, non-committal means they don't commit. Why don't you just say they don't commit instead of saying committal? I've never heard of the word committal. Is that like an internet thing or something? I have no idea, to be honest. But I'm like, texting to someone that you're interested in is not that big of a huge deal at the end of the day. You know, it's not that bad in general. Hey Delta, welcome. Like I said, like in relationship wise, there's nothing like, if you are interested in somebody, you're gonna probably start like texting them quite a lot, you know? That's kind of like how it mostly is. Hey Kisho, how you doing there, hun? Welcome. That's why for me, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that if the guy doesn't want to like text her at least like more than a few times, then I can see the reason why, you know?
That's a lot. But yeah, for some reason, the 25 and unders are, I don't know what's up with the young men these days, but young men who are activated by hags. The young men who are activated by hags are like, ma'am, please tag me in.
Because the reason why younger men want an older woman is for financial stability, plus they're more mature and they know, like, those specific women know exactly what they want, compared to, like, you know, younger women. They're a little bit more of a loose cannon now, at least these day and ages anyways. Non-committal is a real word and predates the internet, is it? Oh, I see. Oh, I've never heard of it. Never heard of committal in my entire life. Not a single chance. I've never heard of that word. So it's a new word to me. So I just think it's weird in general. So, but I don't know. It's just like, well, young men want older women, you know. It's the same thing. It's the same thing when, like, older men want younger women, you know. Or, you know, or younger women want older men. They usually don't like to date someone around their ages because of financial stability and everything. And the guys have everything, you know, older men have, like, basically everything in line. And it's the same thing with, like, older women in general.
I will do anything, madam. Please, you don't understand. If you just give me one crumb of a chance, ma'am. No, Ice, just to be clear, when we talk about texting, in no way, shape, or form am I expecting people to text me all the time, right? I'm like, look at me, I'm busy now. Before this stream, I was hanging out with Michi. Then I was in a call. I'm not saying text me every day, all day, tell me what you're up to. But if you are in a committed something, you know, I need to know that you're alive at least once every few days. That would be nice. Yeah, and again,
that makes that seems to be fine. That there's nothing wrong with that, actually. If the guy isn't texting you every so often, you know, or like every, like, you know, it's like rare chance or so, they think they're probably you're dead or something, you know. So Naga doesn't know the old word fake hag. Your mom's a fake hag. That's what I gotta say.
There's nothing wrong with being non-committal, but my thing is I'm committal. So if I meet somebody, they're non-committal, I'm not going to entertain that. And that's okay. I really want to be committal, but I think I need to improve myself. So the thing about self-improvement that I want to be very, very, like, I need to stop you right there, buddy. You deserve love at any stage of your healing journey. Period. Okay? That's it. Somebody will love you right now with the extra weight, without the haircut, without you having the perfect job, with you having a mattress on the floor. And that goes for any gender, any sex, any nationality, any income. You can find somebody will love.
Yeah, but we just use ghosting, you know, ghosting somebody. It just means you're, like, not really texting them in general.
Of you right now as you are. Bam. That's it. Boom. But I feel like a lot of men do get caught up in this mentality. And just to be clear, I don't blame you. I blame the society. Because the society, as we say, makes it feel like you gotta have a good job. You gotta get a good degree. You gotta, you know, provide. You gotta do all these things. So you are kind of in this space of, I can't be with a woman unless I have the figure, unless I have the body, unless I'm making the money, unless I'm doing all this stuff. And that's really tough, because then you feel like, well, why would she want to be with me if I can't take her out to a nice dinner? She wants to be with you and go for a walk with you and have an ice cream with you. That's it. She just wants an ice cream with you. She just wants to know that if she complains about her day, that you're there for her. That's it. But
the problem is with, like, today's society in general, it's just like men get put down on from women in general, you know. It's not just like, you know, it's like that is a part of it, right? The whole, like, you know, the mentality of, like, you know, if I can't provide, you know, my, you know, the girl that I'm interested in, like, why am I even deserve to date this person, you know? Or, like, you know, oh, maybe I'm too fat or something, or, like, or maybe I'm not, you know, it's the or I'm not pretty enough, you know, or maybe, like, you know, all this other stuff in general, you know. Like, it's funny because, like, women, like, there's some women who just, like, glaze themselves super hard. Right? Like, there's some videos or so specifically how, like, they'll say, oh, I'm like a 9 or a 10, but in actuality they're not really a 9 or a 10. You know, like, it's the problem is like those specific women, nobody, like, wants to date them because they feel like super high maintenance, you know, the minimum checklist. Yeah, it's just like, well, for me specifically, it's more like personality wise, you know. Like, for me, it's like, as long as you're, like, a cool individual that, you know, you're not on top of me 24/7, you know, I'm like, that's fine. you know, I can hang out with my friends, and then you can hang out with your friends. Then I can spend time, and then we can spend time with each other, you know, and then maybe spend time with, like, you know, with like the friends, you know, and all that stuff. But I don't know. Personally for me, like I try to hang out. The only reason why I don't like hanging out with like my boyfriend or my girlfriend's friends or so is because they always have this like judgmental like state. They always judge me, the way how I look, the way how I talk, the way how I am. It's been kind like, it's not every single relationship, but I get it every so often. They'll start judging me for some reason, and then they'll try to change, you know, my significant other's mind or so. I'm like, oh, this person isn't good for you, or, you know, all this other shit and all this other stuff and blah 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 blah. You know, like that's usually what I get from time to time. Not always, but from time to time. You know, providing part is why I am reluctant to try to be in a relationship. In this economy, both finance and responsibility should be shared. Yeah, I think in this day and age specifically now, like it's not you. The men can't really maintain even themselves. You know, not even certain women can maintain maintain by themselves. Okay, unless you have like an insane income or so, you know, then you live on your own. That's a different story. But like for your average, you know, average Joe and your average, you know, average Mary, you know, they're not gonna have crazy financial status. So like you both have to come in and share an agreement that you both have to like help each other out financially, you know, and responsibilities. You guys have to be on the middle ground, you know.
That's the hard part that I feel that and again, I don't know how to fix it. Politicians don't know how to fix it. Society doesn't know how to fix it. I'm just doing my best, right? But I do think you should be self-improving for yourself, not for your partner.
That's true.
And I think it's more important nowadays more than ever, especially with women making money and then more.
You shouldn't be improving yourself for a woman. You should be improving yourself for yourself. If the female or the male doesn't like you at your worst moments, then they do not deserve you at your best moments. I'm just saying. Men are expected to fit into a traditional role, provider's role, but if a guy wants a woman who fits into their traditional role, he's a sexist. That is also pretty true as well, because like, you know, some guys are pretty simple. They want like a very good-looking woman that knows how to cook, you know, doesn't look, you know, not overweight, you know, and all this other stuff, you know, that just looks fine, that looks normal, you know. And then they just kind of like, you know, they just kind of want to do the simple things for the men in general. Hey, boo boo. Learn the iron clothes for yourselves. True. Of course. Who doesn't know how to iron their own clothes? Like even then, even if you don't know how to iron your own clothes, you can just look it up on a YouTube video. I'm like, you got literally the whole entire information on your fingertips. There's no excuse.
Or men choosing to, you know, like maybe stay at home, be stay-at-home dads, be like stay-at-home husbands, things like that, to be there for each other emotionally. I think in the past it was more like, you know, the man has to provide and do all this stuff, and I was like, you're a team. You're a team.
It's okay. I have literally my older brother who's half related to me, who's in his like, I think he's in his 50s or late 40s. He cannot cook whatsoever. But like, the problem is he comes from a different country where like the women do the cleaning and the cooking and the, you know, taking care of the kids, while he provides the work and the food and the money and, you know, all this other stuff basically.
If you choose to want to be in that kind of a
Are you saying who cooks for my older brother? Is that what you're saying?
partnership or dynamic or relationship, I don't know if you're polyamorous or not, I don't know, but I definitely do feel like there's a lot of folks that worry that they can't date unless they get skinny or unless they get a better job or unless they finish their school. But realistically, it doesn't matter if you haven't finished your healing or your stuff. You still deserve, like, you can be loved at any point of your journey. You should be. The whole point of self-improvement, right, is you're self-improving for yourself. I just accepted I'm going to grow old alone. But when you
Yeah, because I'm self-improving myself. I'm not doing this for anybody. I'm not doing this for, for somebody. I want to do this for myself because number one, I want to feel better. Number two, I want to cosplay. That's the reason why. And also at the same time, if my exes come talking to me after like, start doing like, those like cosplay photo shoots and shit like that, I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, I'm Gucci. Thank you. No, thank you.
accept that, that's when you make it a reality. Like it's defeat. You're defeating yourself before you even start. Yeah, Steele. I like that one too, where it's like both. You want to be in a relationship with somebody where it's 50-50, but both people keep wanting to do 60-40. You want to be with somebody that always wants to give you the 60. No, the thing is, you have a choice with this kind of stuff. It's like, for this stuff to get solved, it would take generations. It would take generations of like different living, different stuff. I'll give you an example, right? Like in a lot of Western countries, right? A woman couldn't rent an apartment or open a bank account earlier in the 1900s. Right? That was not that long
That's true. That's very true. That is very accurate.
ago. That's only a few generations. There's a lot of stuff that is still very, very new, and it's going to take a while. I think a lot of this is just with different times.
If you're in a relationship with a streamer, you also got to deal with them receiving attention you might not agree with. That's also true because Matara in general, she's a streamer. So the person has to understand that she's probably going to get hit on multiple times and flirtatiousness multiple times. For me personally, if somebody is in a relationship, right? If like one of my VTuber friends is in a relationship or anything like that, I won't do that because it's just weird to me. But if they're single, it's fine. Because I'm also single as well. So no duh.
People to stop thinking that they will.
Matara has a pretty skewed perspective. If she or any woman goes into dating apps, they get hundreds of guys wanting to date them. It's not the same for guys. That is also very true, especially yeah. That's not very true because women have it a lot more easier. If I wanted to, I can just go put myself on a dating app just like my sister and have different guys hit on me, But I'm like, for me personally, I'm just not a fan of dating apps in general. So I'm just kind of like, I'm okay, To be frank, a lot of those guys don't want to date. They want a one night stand. That's true. There's a lot of people who are like that in dating apps. Well, dating apps in general are just now one night stand kind of type of thing. And I'm just not interested in that. So, yeah, that's just not my cup of tea.
They can only be loved when they get their degree, when they get their job, when they get their body. You can be loved at any point in your life. I'm just letting you know.
The problem is with that specifically, sometimes you just can't find it, Sometimes maybe you're at a job or so and like, you're just doing your job in general. You don't want to go out, like here, I've never told this story before, but I'll tell this story specifically. I have a friend, right? He's a male friend or so, right? He isolated himself from like the world in general, but like he works, right? He works and everything like that. But he isolated himself, so he did not communicate with nobody. And he shut himself off for like, I'd say about like 4 to 5 years. No communication with friends, no communication with female people, and all, just basically just became a complete shut-in, Like, I know that like, humans are like, I don't remember being your friend. What the fuck are you talking about? So he like his social like the way how he like used to talk to people or so has been more minimalized. So now like he doesn't really talk to people. Even if he does go out, he doesn't talk to people. He keeps to himself, and he just kind of like has a like he kind of looks like he looks mad or grumpy all the time. But like in actuality, he's not mad or grumpy. He's just kind of like thinking. You know, he has that like that resting bitch face basically. But like he's not really angry. He looks intimidating is basically like the word I'm looking for. Like he looks very intimidating. But he's actually not a very intimidating person. When you get to know him, he's a really cool individual, you know. But it like I wouldn't say it has affected him in general. The only reason why he did that or so is because like in like I guess in one of the relationships that he had or so was completely fucked him over, unfortunately, because he was literally trying to offer so like ways or so to kind of like balance out the relationship, but like the girl apparently was not having it. She was basically literally not wanting to budge, and she had that specific mindset of just like no. But then the guy was like the guy was literally trying to like offer solutions in general, but like the girl just didn't want to budge whatsoever, you know. And unfortunately that's basically is what happened, and he became more of a shut-in, and he's now more, you know, he's more quiet, he is more isolated. Even to this day he is very like very quiet and isolated. I guess you could say he's more cold-hearted now. He became more cold-hearted. He's like that now. And apparently he prefers not to be in like in actuality, like he really doesn't want to be next to a girl or talk to a girl. Like he doesn't want to do that. When they left him alone or so with a girl or so because their friends got to go do something or so, he literally didn't even bother like talking to her whatsoever. Like he didn't even talk to her, nothing, you know. When guys find peace, it's hard to want to give that up for anyone or anything. Yeah, it's like it's funny because like when he was isolated, so he had a lot of like he was thinking a lot, you know. He was like he just kept thinking in general, and like he just became more of a thinker now these days than before. Like sometimes he'll think from time to time, but then during that time, specifically being isolated for a while, he just kind of like sat there and like started thinking and like, you know, and all this other stuff, you know. Like he's not really like a depressed person. Like he's not really like, you know, he doesn't feel depressed, you know. I don't think it's peace, more like logging off. Could be. Getting lost in your own thoughts? I don't know about losing yourself in your own thoughts. I don't think he lost himself. He's just kind of like just thinking. That's it. Just kind of like thinking, just random stuff. It'd be like how things work and like, you know, philosophical quotes and everything like that. You know, that's basically is what he did in general. But like he really like in general, he really doesn't want to be near girls. You know, he doesn't. He refuses to be with girls, and he'd rather be with like, you know, with other guys in general, you know, just hanging out with the bros basically. But even then, even hanging out with the bros, he's not really like that actively social, but they know him now, you know. They gotten used to him the way how he is now, but he's kind of like he's just very cold-hearted now. Like that's just in general, you know. That's the thing. He has not found a relationship, at least not to my knowledge anyways. I don't know, maybe he did, you know. removing as much RNG out of your life as possible. It's pretty much, yeah, kind of like something like that in general, you know? Like, he's not depressed. Like, he doesn't feel depressed whatsoever. You know, he was sad, you know? He was sad, you know, he did go through a phase or so of being sad for a while. You know, kind of like, you know, because of that relationship messed him up a little bit, you know? But like... But that's usually is what happens when you date somebody for a while, you know? But like it's not like he like changed or anything like that. He kind of like, you know, he just kind of like sat there and started thinking and everything like that, you know? He just started playing video games, doing some work, you know, still not even bothering to like, you know, all that stuff, you know? No, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say fuck women. I've never said that. Don't say things that I do not say that are coming out of my mouth. It's just literally just a dude who just doesn't want to be, you know, alone with a woman. He just doesn't, you know? I never said he said fuck women. No. He's not an incel. So don't be twisting words here.
You are deserving of love right now. Right now. Okay? You are deserving of love right now. Right now. So we're yapping a little bit about that, and I was basically saying how I'm in this weird position where I am very committal. I want to have a life with somebody and commit, but I also am very picky because I think that for somebody to be my future husband and to have the chance to be cannibalized by me, you know, I want to be very picky with who I let into my inner life and inner circle.
What do you mean as in picky? Like, what are we talking about picky, you know?
I'm a lot more sensitive than I let on, so I'm very picky. They have to be, you know, they have to do a lot of stuff. But unfortunately, I'm in a weird place where most men between 25 and 35 are extremely non-committal, and I'm not blaming them, by the way.
I feel like it feels like it's the kind of guys you kind of like decide to instigate, you know? If the guy is coming to flirt with you, right? No, I doubt it. I doubt it. It's like that for Miss Matara. I don't really know. Like she does, at least so far, she doesn't say it, like what kind of type of guy she's looking for, right? But she's saying like between the ages of 25 and 35 are not committed people. But I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like there are guys who do want a relationship to commit, you know? But it's like, the question is like, is the woman going to like, you know, going to even go for it or go even try for it? Because even at the same time, even women do not commit either. Okay? All right? I'm throwing the women under the bus, okay? All right? Because you also do not commit. I should know this because I've dated a couple, okay? All right? But the question is like, how busy is Matara though at that point?
I blame society and God. It's just, you know, it's a weird time, weird upbringing, weird everything. Everyone's going through it. Nobody's sure how to. Oh, I'm so sensitive. Oh my goodness.
And the problem is also on top of that too, as well. Now that like in this day and age or so, if a guy tries to hit on a girl, apparently the girl is gonna go in attack mode or in defensive mode, thinking that they're manipulating them. You know? Remember that one video that we saw a while back where that girl literally got a compliment or so from the guy? And then like she went defensive mode, specifically like, oh, is he manipulating me? It's like, chill. God damn, it's just a compliment. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. It's just like, it's just a compliment. He's just complimenting on you. It's like, god damn. And she's going like super defensive and everything. And I'm just like, oh my god, dude. I was like, it's understandable why a lot of guys aren't dating because of like certain mentalities of certain women, you know? Meanwhile, men get a compliment and cherish it for the rest of their existence. Yeah, it's just like when a guy gets complimented, they're like happy as shit, you know?
I'm such a sensitive little cockroach. But, so I'm kind of in a weird spot where men under 25 are like, madam, please, please, madam, slot me in. Give me a chance, madam. I will make you a mother of so many children. They're like, please, please, madam, just let me in. I can cure you of your loneliness. And men over 35 are usually like, yeah, I could treat you nice. And men between 25 and 35, I'm sorry you got it rough. But from my own experience and from a lot of my girlfriends' experiences, you are a little bit more on the non-committal side. I don't blame you.
I don't know about that. I'm gonna have to disagree with that, to be honest. I think there are guys who are committed in that specific, but the problem is like the kind of guys you're looking for in general, you know? It's the kind of guys that you are looking for, you know? Like if it's just really like really depends on the guy that, like the type of guys you're actually wanting to date, you know? I don't know. What do you guys think, chat? I know there's a few of you guys who are in that specific age range. What do you guys think? Like, I know there's a lot of younger people, like below 25 or so, who want an older woman, right? Because they're into hags and everything like that. But then, like, you have specifically between like the 25s and the 35-year-olds that are like, apparently they're not the non-committal person. But wait, how old is Matara? Is she saying like she's older than 35 or something? Let me see. I think her and Amelie are in mid-30s. If they're in their mid-30s, then that's pretty much just like the same. If she's telling about, like, didn't she tell us a story how she and her friend were mistaken by photographers to be a couple and or something? I'm not too sure. I don't know. I don't keep up with Matara-kan. I have not keeping up with Matara-kan since like when she became when she debuted as Nina Kosaka from Nichi Sanji.
Just to be clear, I'm not like, but you know, I think it's one of those things where I don't blame you for being non-committal. Don't blame me for being committal. If I meet you and I say, hey, I'm committal, and you say I'm non-committal, I go, okay, well, bye-bye. There's nothing here for us. No, I don't want to hold hands and cuddle and talk into the night because you're not committal, but I am. So, fuck off. Bye-bye. I'm 39 committal and want to do your dishes. That's a big plus.
Interesting. I'm from the below 25 age group, and honestly, people keep getting worse. I personally believe it is because of social media. People's standards are artificially being raised by people online, saying stuff like, if a man loves you, he would move mountains, but they don't mention that moving a mountain takes time and it takes support. And if support is not given, then that mountain will continue standing. Yeah. A lot of people don't seem to realize that dating and relationships are their own projects, which just need to set aside time and mental resource for. Counterpoint, women don't commit either. Yeah, women do not commit either. So it's also the same thing for women too. So here's what I understood. Men under 25, if you give me a chance, I will put in effort in the relationship. Men between 25 and 35, why are you worth my effort? Those guys are burnt out by bad dating roles and probably want their partner to give it back instead or just take. Yeah, you know. it's a quality of people issues. It existed for every point in time. People struggle their entire lives and find no one. Just like the people that get married straight out of high school and live happily ever after. There is no one size fits all ideology and perspective that is going to fix your problems. My advice is to my advice to the desperate and single: don't seek advice from desperate and single. Yeah, don't. Yeah, my personal opinion is like, don't seek advice for some people who are like, you know, single and desperate at the end of the day, you know, because like she wants a committal relationship, right? I don't think that's the right kind of individual that you want to, like, you know. I'd say someone who's like in a relationship who is married or so, that's basically the best, you know. I always go to it's a bad time to date. Kind of really depends. It just really depends on the taste of, like, let's say for example your taste of woman is like not great, you know, you're getting like, it's always been pretty bad and you had a rough experience. Maybe changing the taste of your women might give you something different, you know. As a jaded elder millennial, I would like a relationship, but I like to meet halfway for a partner. Yeah, meeting halfway for a partner is a-okay, you know. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. That's the only thing, you know. I'm 25 and I'm scared of getting married because divorce rates are high and can destroy your family and finances. I want to have kids and a family, but finding a girl who I can trust is hard. I think a lot of men are in a similar place, although I bet about the same amount just don't want any commitments. I think that's also the reason why too as well, that like, you know, they don't want, like, because apparently like divorce rates is pretty high apparently now these days, and they don't want, you know, financial issues as well, which is understandable. I can understand that. The men she's choosing don't commit because they're the same men other women are choosing, so they don't have to. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, it could, like I said, it could be just a taste of men in general, you know. Like for me specifically, like I've had some pretty like irky relationships, you know. I'm not stuck on my ways, but I find it difficult to find a good reason to change them. It would take generations to fix this problem. Matara, men are trying to make the next generation. We're the sacrifice generation. Seems like she just chooses the wrong men. Yeah, I feel like this is what's happening here. I'm going to say something bold. I believe most incidents of flirting in her eyes really isn't. It's just a man being a nice person, and she perceives it as trying to get with her. Could be, but who knows? Like I said, you know, we don't know. We don't live in Matara's shoes at the end of the day. Everyone I know in my age range, 25, 26, 27, is committed, just as I am. Girly is just meeting the wrong people. I that's what I think, you know. My dumbass can find someone that'll love me for me. Where do I look for the amazing woman? I thought it says Amazonian woman for a second there. She has so many languages to speak with, and she decided to speak with the truth. Gonna be real. I imagine she wants a committed too early into a relationship and scares the guys away. Also, I don't get how she tells her, I imagine almost entirely male audiences, that there are women who will love them as they are, regardless of where they are in life, only then talk about how she's picky in choosing men. Yeah, she's picky. That's the question is like, in what way are you picky is what I'm trying to learn, you know. If that's not the reality for all the other women out there, it just comes off as out of touch to me. I don't think she had a bad intention. No, I don't think she had a bad intention either here, or anything. In fact, that she's probably trying to encourage or reassure her audience that there is someone out there for them. But to talk about how easy it is for you to find men interested in you and how picky you are about that partner, while simultaneously telling her audience that they don't have to reach certain standards of quality of improvement to find a partner, seems kind of odd. Yeah. And if it takes generations to fix the problem, then where the hell does that leave me and the other my age? Down shit creek, I guess? The type of men she dated don't commit, which explains a lot. If you date beautiful people, everyone is after them, so why would they commit to you? Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think, chat? What like in general, like, because I have a lot of male audiences. That's the only thing. I can see what she's talking about. The more committed do indeed exist, but I'd say on average has decreased. They're harder to find than before, from what I've seen. Everyone has their reasons for why, so I won't generalize it further. If you keep looking for you. If you keep looking, you will find them, though, even if it's a longer search. As someone who wants a more particular person, I can understand the stubbornness rather than settle. But I'd be very curious. Is like, is she like? I know that she's a committed person, right? But like, the question is she trying to make them commit immediately? Because like, I know when you start, you know, dating someone, this is from the void, okay? This is like my experience from the void itself. Usually when you're interested in someone, or, you know, you talk to somebody, you go on a couple dates, you talk to each other a little bit, you know, you text each other for a little bit. And then, you know, if the spark is there, then you get into the relationship, and then it becomes serious, and then, you know, so forth. But over here, you know, over here specifically, you know, everything is like fucking instantly, fast, you know? People want a relationship. People want sex already, immediately. Fucking all this other stuff, you know? If you're too picky, you might just let a real gem slip by. That is also true. That is very true. You're not wrong on that one specifically. Being picky and heavy preferences are way too different from each other. Plus, the commitment point is too vague. Like, when, how far in the relationship? Yeah, that's the question I'm asking specifically for Matara-kan. Is like, are we talking about like immediately commitment, or are we talking about like, oh, you know, maybe a couple months down the line, or a year or something like that, or you know, a couple months, you know, mostly a couple months. That's the question I ask. I was like, you know, there's nothing wrong on going like casual dating with the same individual over and over again, just to get to know the girl or the guy, you know. I don't know. Personally, I don't find anything wrong with it, but that's just me. That's personally me. For God's sakes, I dated a fat guy, for God's sakes. You think I'm picky? Fuck no. I dated a pretty chubby man, okay? All right? You know, he wasn't a 9 out of 10 guy. He was not even an 8 or a 7, you know? He was your pretty average, you know, pretty average dude, you know? Just pretty, like, maybe like average, a 4 or 5 kind of guy, you know? Like, I'm not saying I'm like a 9 or a 10 or anything like that. Hell fucking no, I'm not. I'm just your average woman too as well, you know? I'm not fucking like whatever the hottest woman that exists on your guys' dimension. I don't know who it is. I don't really follow like hot people, you know. They don't, you know. I don't really care too much, to be honest. It's not about settling. I'm fine for dating someone with their flaws. No one is perfect. The point of a relationship is to build each other to be the best they can be. Yeah, it's just to be there for each other, you know. I'm picky, but if I vibe with you, I don't give a fuck what you look like. I'm personally, like, I wouldn't say I'm picky. I probably would be like, I think my only criteria is like, I don't want you to be like fat, okay? And when I'm saying like fat, you know exactly what I'm saying when I mean fat, okay? All right? I don't want someone who is like insanely fat, okay? All right? I want a normal, like, you can be a little thick, you know. I don't mind a bit of thickness, you know. I don't mind that in general, but like, you know, but like fat is like, it's like, you know, I'm okay, you know. Bones are for dogs, am I right? Bones are for dogs? Hey, I don't even know what that line is. I'm not picky. I dated a fat guy. Code 2025. Well, yeah, of course. I dated a fat guy. Like, I've dated like so many different types of people, you know? I've even dated people online in general. I didn't even know what they look like, but their personality is what carried the relationship the most, you know? Their personality is what I care about the most. I don't care of what you look like, you know? Like, the only thing that I care about if you're like not insanely overweight, you know? Because, like, you know, I'm not gonna take care of you if you're gonna be insanely overweight, you know? It's like, well, to be honest, if I did or so, I'd probably put you on a diet, to be honest. I would probably put you on a diet. I'd be like, I'll do the thing what Asmongold said, you know, make a park or so, and then like make walls around the area, and then in the center area of the wall or so, just have like very thin bars, and you can't escape until like you lose weight, and then you can walk out of there for free. That's probably like the only thing I would probably do, you know. I'd probably take Asmongold's like idea for that, you know. And I just want someone who takes care of themselves, and I can hang out with and spend time together with. Yeah, of course, there's nothing wrong with that. Giving your partner a higher lifespan is fair enough. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like I don't want them to have an early grave. You know, like for them to be like fat in general. I want them to be healthy. You know, I want them to live with me at least longer. I don't want their lifespan to be short. You know, that's the reason why. By insane, do you mean like ones where they occupy an entire room with their bodies? I'm talking about like so like, you know. If we're gonna get technical terms here, all right. If we're gonna get into the technical terms, if this is what we're gonna do in general, I'd say like beyond this, you know, beyond this in general, you know, this specific body type, beyond this, you know, anything beyond this point, like this point in body size in general is like not really a good look for me, you know, personally. Like I'm not a fan of this. I'm not really a huge fan of this in general. This is a big no-no for me. This is a huge no-no, you know? This one here in general is kind of like, I'm like, maybe, but then at the same time, it's still kind of like not really okay with me. It's like it's between here. It's a little bit less than here, but it's a little bit more here. I'm not a fan. I'm usually not a fan of this. If you have this, that's fine. That's okay, you know? But anything in this range here specifically, I'm okay with, you know? That's pretty much it, you know? Then I can let my guard down just a little. That makes sense in general, you know? Like, yeah, just like, you know... Like, I'm not really a huge fan of, like, the overweight kind of type of thing, you know? Yeah, I'm not a fan of the plus size, you know, plus size people. Not really digging it personally. But that's just my personal opinion, you know? But yeah, overall, it's just, like I said, it really depends on different people, you know? That's pretty much about it. I'm talking about overweight, bro. Come on, man. I'm not into that kind of type of thing. Like this in general, I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of this either. I'm sorry, but it's just not my preference, you know? It's not like, you know, it's like literally not my preference in general. These are just not my type of things, you know? Like this I'm not a fan. This I'm not a fan. I'm just, it's just not my kind of taste, you know? That's pretty much it, you know? I don't know, but that's just my personal opinion. I'm not asking for like, you know, I'm not asking for a chiseled fucking guy, you know? Or like a chiseled fucking woman, you know? That's not what I'm saying, you know? Like, I'm not here for this. I'm not here for this or this or this. Maybe five or 4, you know? 5 or 4, pretty much. Like 5 or 4 is fine, but anything below this is not good, and anything above that is not good, you know? What if you could become chiseled? I do not want to become chiseled. Thank you very much. No. No, I've seen a woman who has abs and muscles and that shit scares me. Yeah, just normal healthiness, you know? That's it, you know? I'm not asking for a 6-pack or an 8-pack, you know? I'm not asking you to be 6 feet tall. I'm not asking you for 6 figures or anything like that. No, I'm not really, I don't ask you for that in general, you know? That's why in general it's like I can kind of see, like, you know, she's not saying anything in a bad way in general, right? Like she doesn't, like, you know, but I don't know, man. I don't really agree personally of what she says, right? Abs on girls are pretty nice. I don't think so personally. That's just my personal opinion. I think it kind of like disgusts me personally. Not a huge fan, thank you. It does not turn me on in any way. Hey Pharaoh. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't personally agree with this though, but like I said, each their own opinion. I think in my personal opinion, it really depends what kind of picky person she is. That's the question they ask, you know? That's kind of like basically it, because we don't know how picky she is, you know? That's the one thing she didn't explain. She didn't explain that to us. It's like, how picky is Matara-kan, you know? But hey, like I said, each to their own. Anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. But yeah, this kind of popped up on my feed or so. It's a little bit older so on the video itself, but like I kind of wanted to see, because, you know, a lot of my audiences specifically are males. So I'd be very curious to see in the comment section about this. You know, I'd be very curious what my comment section thinks about this video in general. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really a guy, but like I'm just coming from my personal experience from dating people. I don't know. There's the only issue that I've ran with or so when it comes to like the ages between 25 and 35. Well, not really 35, but like between the ages of like No. You know, yeah. No. The person in the age is between he's probably in his 30s now. So yeah. So I'm gonna say between the ages of 35 and 25 is that they're horny. They're fucking horny, bro. That's the only thing. I think that's like the only slight complaint I have to say about it. But the problem is that I attract certain individuals because of my voice, you know. It's because of the voice that I have specifically, you know, because they don't really see me how I look like or anything like that, but like the voice in general is what they get attracted to, and they only want one thing and one thing only from me, is to fucking, you know, have sex. And I'm just like, I'm not really looking for a one night kind of type of thing. Not really my type of thing. The man voice, the mommy voice. It's just the mommy voice in general. The more like low voice indeed. But like it's just kind of like, you know, I don't know. I'm just not really a huge fan of like the one night stand thing, you know? What about a week type of thing? No, I don't. I just want a normal relationship. That's it. I don't want a one night thing. I don't want a 1 week thing. I don't want a 1 month thing or a 1 year thing. No, I want a relationship, and that's final. So when guys desperate enough, duplicate AI's co-voice. Okay, buddy. God gave me 2 hands for a reason. Same thing for me too. There's a reason why the reason why I got tentacles. You want a relationship where you can share the same bank account? What the fuck? Whoa, I'm not even saying that. What the fuck are you talking about? Shut up. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And overall, that's pretty much it. And peace.